And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar, live from the Cincy Light Studios. Hi, right here on BearcatJournal.com. Go see our good friends at Hail Mary's. They are in Cheviot, right on Harrison Avenue. They're in the Dora District. You can go from bar to bar with your drinks. But why would you want to do that? Just hang out at Hail Mary's. 27 TVs, 9-screen video wall. There's not a bad seat in the house. They subscribe to every sports package DirecTV offers. You can stream all the games, and Cincinnati sports will always be on the video wall. Brand new walk-in cooler, brand new draft lines. And not only do they pour the coldest Cincy Light around, they do so in 32.8-degree beer frosted glasses. All right, Aaron. Let's get this show on the road as the Big 12 tournament carries on. Unfortunately, it will not be carrying on tomorrow with the Cincinnati Bearcats. They fall 76-56 to Iowa State. They had it down to 3 in the middle of the second half. They did not play well from there on out, including an 11-0 run to end the game, which took a 9-point game with 4 minutes left, turned it into a 20-point game. The truth, though, Aaron, it felt more like a 20-point game than it did a 5-point game throughout. Iowa State took control early. Cincinnati never led. They played from behind the entire game. They got bullied. Iowa State dominated on the glass. Cincinnati could not take advantage of mistakes. And all around, it was a game. Iowa State was the significantly better team.
Yeah, you won the turnover battle 17-11 with 10 steals to their 5. You won the blocks 4-1, but you are not going to win a game losing rebounds 41-23 ever. You're also not going to win a game when you shoot 33% from the floor and the other team shoots damn near 54%.
It's not great.
That's just not a winning formula. That said, I'd be remiss if I said that I felt good about any of the officiating in this one again. I don't know if it's just TJ Otzelberger and whatever voodoo he has going on.
They put Tony Padilla on the game. The guy that Otzelberger spent 3 minutes with at halftime in Ames. They put Tony Padilla on the game. The refs had nothing to do with it. Like, Cincinnati didn't remotely play well enough to win. But it was a poorly officiated game.
Yes. It didn't look the same from what was going on one end of the court to the other. Yeah. And that's frustrating.
These things is not like the other.
Just it's frustrating to watch that because I never at any point got a sense of what Cincinnati could do defensively compared to what Iowa State could do defensively. It was
virtually anything
different. So I don't know. That's me just venting. It was a frustrating season. It was a frustrating day. You figured it was going to be a loss like this to end the season. We'll see what happens with the crown.
So clarification on that. I did call the great Dan Horde. And from what he has heard, in order, you have to have 7 scholarship players available to play in the crown. If you are below 7, you're not in the crown. So, well, there is an out. My understanding initially, from what I had heard initially, was contractually obligated. It's up to you to figure it out and to get there and play. I guess they did build in something to prevent a team showing up with like four scholarship players and some walk-ons, because nobody wants to watch this tournament anyway. But really, nobody wants to see 3 or 4 scholarship players and some walk-ons enjoying their time in Vegas, more so than being worried about the basketball game.
Good.
So we'll see. I don't know if they're going to play in it. I don't know if they're not going to play in it. I don't have that answer yet. But yeah, it's possible that they don't have to.
If you're blowing the whole thing up, like I really hope they do, then we should be good.
They're not going to blow the whole thing up, Aaron. You can hope in one hand, poop in the other, and see which one fills up first. They're not blowing the whole thing up, but it is going to look, as I put on the message board today, I expect at least 3, maybe even 4 new starters next year for the Bearcats. Is that enough for you? Is that enough of blow it up?
Depends on how many people are left on the bench.
Anywho, I nailed it, Aaron. I got it right. Colorado 67, West Virginia 60. That's the most frustrating thing of this whole season for me is this team could not beat West Virginia because I don't think that team is any good. And Colorado is on to the quarters tomorrow.
The West Virginia beat writers that I follow on Twitter don't even know if they make the tournament after that loss. They do not.
I think they will.
They are very nervous. No one is all the way in that this team has made it. We'll see what happens, especially when you start to get into these tournaments and some teams start winning these tournaments that take spots from people who were solid or had better ground than somebody with a surprise win of a tournament. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm shocked. I don't know if he got injured or if Bengot Dak genuinely only played 13 minutes. He was the early point leader when we were doing the show with 3, and he finished with 3 to go with his 3 rebounds. That's unless they're really trying to stash him, as I theorized last night. Good on Colorado. After a shitty season, you love to see just some good things happen to a team that truthfully never gave up at any point.
They kept plugging away. Look, I've said all year, that guy can coach. He can flat out coach. And he kept coaching his team. He got 2 guys. He got double digits from 2 guys off the bench that we haven't really talked about at all this year. Elijah Malone had 14. RJ Smith had 13. Jakimovsky with 11. Julian Hammond only had 8. So, they're 2 guys, along with Bengot Dak, that have kind of been carrying the load, didn't do a whole lot. And they got some help off the bench. And they did enough. And they beat West Virginia. Javon Small had 23. Toby Okiani had 11. And they got virtually nothing from anyone else. And I nailed it.
Yeah.
Proud of myself.
Yesufu and Hansberry combining for 6 points killed them. Absolutely killed them.
Baylor 70, Kansas State 56. Coleman Hawkins crying on camera in the locker room for 2 minutes after the game, trying to answer questions. That's a guy that cared. We have talked about that. He could have easily bagged the rest of the season. He did not. He was upset, clearly, and Baylor moves on. Maybe they're getting back on track.
Coleman Hawkins kind of did the same thing Dylan Mitchell did. He only goes 2 of 9 for 5 points. He did have 7 rebounds in his 38 minutes, but just offense was nowhere to be found. And you kind of hate that for a guy that we've gone back and forth about how we feel about him, truthfully, throughout the entirety of this season. Guy who came in.
He won me over towards the end.
Because he fought. And he's the kind of guy that you want to have in your locker room. And I don't know. I feel kind of bad for him. I didn't expect to feel this way for Coleman Hawkins, but I do feel kind of bad. That said, VJ Edgecombe, he's a dude, and Norchad Omier, he's a dude. Those 2 guys combined for 31 points and 24 rebounds. Both of them have double doubles to win this game. You also had Jaden Nunn off the bench with 18. Baylor's tough. They got a great coach too, and they figured out how to play without their big man.
Ojin Wuna.
So I don't know. Baylor could start if Baylor turned around and won this tournament, that wouldn't be the biggest surprise either.
Yeah, the only thing I'd worry about them in terms of winning this would be 4 games in 4 days on a team with a bench
Absolutely.
that's that short. But yeah,
stranger things have happened.
Set up tomorrow. My dog is losing her mind. Hold on.
Yep. Well, right now you also have Kansas and UCF. It's in the second half, 13 minutes roughly to go. It's 61-49 in that one. You have for UCF, you got Mustafa Thiam. He's got 10 and 7. Keyshawn Hall, he has 17 and 6. And Darius Johnson has 11 points there. For Kansas, though, the compiler already has his double-double. Hunter Dickinson with 13 and 10. Zeke Mayo, he's got 14. And AJ Storr off the bench coming to life. He's got 12. Kansas up 10 now with about 12 minutes left. 61-51. We'll see if Kansas is able to hold on. But
this has been interesting, Aaron, because Kansas has done this a couple times in this game, pushed it out to, and I think they were up 8-0 at the start, but pushed it out to 8 to 10 points. And then you look over and it's 1. Like UCF has continued to put game pressure on them. It'll be interesting to see if they can, in this latest iteration of building the lead up to 10, if they can hold it.
Those two teams play completely different styles, though, very different tempos. Yeah. So it's no wonder. I mean, truthfully, with UCF playing as fast as they do, I'm sure it feels like it's a blink of an eye as they can go in scoring runs while Kansas is kind of slogging it out. So we'll see. It's now down to 8. So we'll see what UCF's able to do.
Again, they keep swinging. I'll give them credit. It's not a good team, but a lot of their games have ended up closer than many would expect because they keep scoring.
Reminiscent of what UCF did with Kansas earlier this season too. So
yeah. Real quick, tomorrow, Iowa State, BYU. Iowa State a 2.5-point favorite. BYU has won 8 in a row. It's not a neutral court. Like, that's the hard part to, like, judge this game because it is a home game for Iowa State. They control the arena. So it's going to be tough for BYU, who is not – they're still good away from home, but they're obviously better at altitude. I don't know, man. I like BYU right now, and I loved Iowa State for a long time this season. I like BYU better than I like Iowa State right now.
I don't think that's not crazy talk. You saw what Iowa State did today. They had a little bit of issue just not turning the ball over at times. And if you look, Cincinnati was not able to take advantage of those turnovers. I don't know that you can have those types of turnovers and BYU not take advantage of those. BYU will shoot the lights out if you give them the opportunity.
The other thing being BYU is an excellent rebounding team. So you're not going to punk BYU on the glass like they did to Cincinnati today. I don't think.
Well,
maybe.
You also
don't think so.
You also have the situation that BYU could shoot Iowa State out of their defense to where Iowa State has
Cincinnati
to scramble.
Couldn't.
If you are able to start making threes against that defense, that completely scrambles your entire defensive strategy if you're Iowa State. So I don't know. I don't know that I'm ready to say Iowa State's all the way out, but I'm leaning BYU.
Houston, Colorado. Can we get a one-time for the one time? Can we get a one-time for the one time?
The worst possible
bloodbath.
The worst possible buzzsaw that Colorado could have walked into. The spread on that game already right now is 17.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
It opened at 18.5, so people are betting Colorado. Or at least betting the spread. They're at least betting the spread. So
yeah. And then what should be a really, really good game.
I agree.
Texas Tech and Baylor in the early one tomorrow night. Did they only play once or did they play twice this year? They only played
know.
once, and Texas Tech won 73-59. I am looking to see in that box score. Ojinwuna did play in that game, and Texas Tech still won it pretty easily. And he had 10 and 4, 2 blocks. And surprisingly, that was one of Toppin's worst games of the year. He only had 8. Without Ojinwuna there,
He's gonna eat.
You're gonna get to see a lot of Toppin and Omier like going head to head, which I think will be really fun.
Should be an interesting matchup. I wonder too if Baylor's tempo has changed with Ojinwuna out, if they're able to run a little bit more and push that tempo against Texas Tech and trying to keep up with them. So I don't know. If you had to guess, you think Baylor, Texas Tech, or Iowa State, BYU is the better game?
Iowa State, BYU are the two teams are better. So I would take that one, but I think Baylor, Texas Tech is going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. Oh, the spread just came out. It's 6.5. Texas Tech just dropped.
You got Omier and Toppin going head to head. Chance McMillan and BJ Edgecombe won't go head to head, but you got 2 of the better guards in the league, 2 of the better forwards in the league. Should be a fun game, but I do think Texas Tech. That sounds about right to me. 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that range that Texas Tech wins by. And then Arizona waiting on Kansas or UCF. It's down to 5. Again, UCF is doing that thing where they yo-yo and make it close. I assume Kansas is going to be there, but I will not be shocked if UCF pulls the upset.
Well, Kansas beat Arizona right to end the season there. And UCF lost to Arizona 88-80. Those are the only times that either team has matched up with Arizona that I, after a quick glance, noticed.
Yeah, I think that's it. That one will be interesting. Whoever it ends up being, I think Arizona should move on, but like I said, we've seen Kansas win. I think that was that in the Fog? That was at Arizona, wasn't it?
Nope, that was in the Fog.
Okay.
On
all right. 8th. That's going to wrap it up. Remember, BCJ pod tomorrow night at 8. And then when we get done with that, Aaron and I will do another one of these to go over what will be should be a great semis on Friday. That's the nightcap brought to you by Hail Mary Sports Bar right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.